and welcome to Six Figure Signature Offers, the podcast for women in business who want to create brands that become the hot tamale of their industry and sold out scalable offers that bring home the bacon without burning them out. I'm your host, online business strategist Robin Birkin. I've gone from managing 8-figure marketing budgets and big teams to creating 2 multi-6-figure businesses in part-time hours by design. If you're ready to attract Cloud9 clients in droves, sell out your scalable offers, and not bring your laptop to the beach, then welcome, let's go. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. I am coming to you today from our pool room because we have a puppy sleeping right now, and it brings me back to the newborn days. Don't wake the baby. But we got a border collie puppy just 2 weeks ago. He is adorable. He's also a massive chomper, and happy days. I did not realize, I did the research. I waited as long as we could. Everyone else in the family was so keen for this puppy, and I was so keen to wait and got the puppy, did the research, all of the things, but definitely underestimated the level of intenseness that it would be, while at the same time thanking my past self for all of the decisions that I've made that have allowed me to be so present with this puppy, from quitting my corporate job and opening up my own business to even just recently in the Easter school holidays. I only had 2 days for the whole school holidays when my children had some form of babysitting or play date. All of the rest of the time was with me, but I was still so productive and have really been working this year on everything rinse and repeat. Like, what are the seamless systems that we can put in place in the business? How can I hire really strategically and thoughtfully and intentionally? How can I hand off, like, one by one, certain things that require me to be in the business day to day? And it is this beautiful process whereby I'm at this point where it's almost like the turning point that I can see how all of the work I've put in at the start of this year and at the end of last year is starting to come to fruition. And I'm excited. It felt very spacious. It felt very easy to have just 2 days work, although I was absolutely ready to come back to work because I love what I do. I love my clients. I love my day-to-day. I love the variety. I love the responsibility and being able to engineer particular results. I love it, honestly, hand on heart. The journey, everything is what I love about what I do. And it's been amazing because we've had this puppy for 2 weeks, so he kind of came right at the very end of the school break. But I've had the ability to really invest the time and the energy into our little man. So super, super happy. But I did 100% underestimate just how full on it would be. It's like nonstop. And I can totally understand why some people take 3 weeks to 4 weeks off work, because it really is intense. And obviously we have chosen the type of dog that is a 10 times dog. Anyway, today I'm super excited because I'm going to be sharing with you 6 things my top clients do that gets them a result. And it's really interesting because I work with loads of clients and every single one of my clients is incredible. And there is something that the clients who get the best results always have in common in terms of the way that they show up. And at a massive holistic level, I almost feel like some of it is very mindset based, because you have to have a particular mindset to be able to invest, to be able to show up consistently, even when you're busy, even when you're tired, because we are all busy, we are all tired. So these are the 6 things that my most successful clients do that gets them a result. Number 1 is they understand it is about both organic and paid strategy. More and more and more, I am seeing that meta ads are a little bit unpredictable, and that obviously just trying to get enough leads organically is near impossible. The majority of your leads will come from meta ads. So if you do not know how to run meta ads, if you are not budgeting effectively, if you do not know how to generate the revenue and the strategy that is going to help you invest consistently in meta ads, then that is something that you need to learn ASAP. You will not grow to the next level without that. But you don't want to be reliant on it. You don't want to have one single launch event get completely taken out by Facebook ads not doing what they're meant to do, which is why, aside from having a really robust sales system and promotional strategy in your business, which is something that I teach on my free training, if you would like the link to come and join me to map out exactly what a 12-month marketing plan would look like for you in your business, check the show notes below or come and follow me on Instagram. But what you also don't want is you don't want a poor Facebook ads result to completely take out a launch. So it's really important that you are doing both in your business consistently. The other thing that happens is when you are consistent in your organic content and you know what works, you're continually iterating, well, my friend, your paid ads actually get cheaper. I always get more and cheaper leads when I am posting more and better organically on Instagram. And I'm not talking about like, oh yeah, because you get organic leads. No, my paid ads get more and better for whatever reason. So the next thing that they do is they show up consistently. Now, I don't mean by that they post every day at 8:43 a.m. in the morning. I don't mean that at all. But what I do mean is that they don't ghost for months and months on end. If they know that communicating with their email list is really important, then that is something that they're doing on a regular basis. You'll never go anywhere and they're just not anywhere for months on end. You see my clients showing up where it matters and consistently doing the work that matters to move their clients through their funnels. The next thing that they do, which is sort of related, is that they know that leads are the lifeblood of their business. Leads are the lifeblood of your business. Every launch that you have, and I talk to a lot of people in my messages about joining the mastermind or not joining the mastermind. And I don't think I've ever had a single business join. No, I have. That's a lie. I've had some businesses that are absolutely top notch, but the majority of businesses who join the mastermind don't have enough leads. And they don't have enough leads, which is then diluting all of their launches. They're kind of stuck on this treadmill of launches. Again, if you want to see how you can actually take your launches from, let's say, 4 people to 10 people per launch, right up to like 50 people per launch, which may feel like a stretch goal for you right now. But if you want to see exactly how you do that, because it's not just like, oh yeah, maybe 2 times a year I'll run a launch. That is so much pressure for a launch. When you are established, when your offer is dialed in, when you have a massive audience, that is maybe a possibility for you. But until you're at that point, you're actually never going to grow launch on launch with that few sales events. You need to be like generating revenue in your business every single month and learning how to sort of stack that and move different parts of your audience through different ways. And it actually gets to be really easy, especially when at the cornerstone of that is one hero offer and everything else is sort of built around that. That's exactly what I teach in my free training. But the next thing that they do is they know their numbers and their key metrics. So for example, they might be like, right, well, I know that the number one metric that is going to be a money maker metric is my webinar registrations. Great. But here's the other thing that they know. They actually know their client data. So when we will get on a call, I will say to them, right, of the 20 people who joined, tell me, who are they? What were they? What was their journey like? And because they go into the data at that level, because they're submitting to me in-depth launch debriefs, we can see where the bottlenecks are. We can see very clearly as well what is the messaging that is resonating? And so therefore, when we get into the next launch, we know exactly how to position that next launch, because not only do we know the numbers data, but we know the client data. How long have they been on your email list for? What lead magnet did they come from? All of that information is absolutely crucial. The next thing is that they don't let setbacks define them. I think it's a big myth that we feel that, especially if you're in the business coaching niche, and I get it, because I'm not perfect and not everything I touch turns to gold either. In some ways I romanticize looking back at my life coaching business, because in some ways I felt like everything I touched in that business did turn to gold. It didn't. Nobody has a business where everything just magically works all of the time straight away. A lot of the time it's that some things land, some things don't. Some things don't land initially, but you just know that it's got bones to it, and therefore you can iterate and iterate and iterate, and it becomes great through iteration, testing, and refinement. And that is for the majority of people. Sometimes you just need like one or two things to click, and then you're like off to the races. But they don't let little setbacks define them. They celebrate every win, and they look for solutions, not problems. I have one client in particular who I have worked with for a few years now, right? And she's been in the mastermind for a few years, and every now and then she'll submit something to me and I'll be like, I'm really sorry, but this is just not going to work in the format that it's at. And sometimes part of my role is to deliver hard feedback. However, I know that if I don't, then that's doing a disservice to this client. And bless her cotton socks, every single time that I do this, she is like, no, it's all good. Like, let's go. Come on. And so an example recently was podcast titles. So she's about to launch a podcast. I'm so excited for her. And she submitted this is my first 10 titles. And I was like, here's the changes that we need to make in my audits. And I was like, we need to make some really wholesale changes to these episodes if you want to be able to generate what I call reach on repeat. So if you didn't know this, my last podcast was had 20,000 downloads per month, reached 1 million podcasts, and just kept growing and growing and growing, even when I didn't publish episodes for literally 2 or 3 years. And imagine how freeing that is when you know not only how to generate a podcast that creates authority and makes you one of the top contenders in your niche. People are like, oh no, you need to go to this person because they know what they're talking about. You're completely bingeable, but also that you published once and then it continues to just do the work again and again and again. So I had in my last business only 215 episodes. Imagine if you got more than 1 million people reading your Instagram posts out of only 215, right? That's what a podcast can do for you. And so she went through inside the mastermind, we have a podcast program that is built on all of my principles of how to create reach on repeat through a podcast. And I went through and I made really quite significant changes to that audit, but she knows that it's in her best interest, and she doesn't get all up in her head about every setback. Or let's say she has a launch, doesn't quite go the way that she plans, she'll be like, right, what do we need to do here to fix this? And then it creates exceptional funnels around that. The next one is the last one, and this is probably the most important one. If I could, especially in 2026, give you one message only, that is, you need a sales system and you need to sell regularly, especially in 2026. My clients who get the top results are selling regularly, and they have a sales system. It is not enough to just put out a few carousel posts on Instagram and hope for the best. It is not enough to have a lead magnet and then try to sell all the time from your lead magnet. You will not reach your revenue goals when you do that. What you need is a sales system that brings people consistently from your free content into your programs, and you need to be selling via that method or several sales systems regularly. Now, I can hear in the background that the puppy has woken up. So that very conveniently wraps up today's episode. If you would like to learn the exact 12-month offer and promotional plan that I work through with so many of my clients, that's not only going to allow you to create revenue between launches, but because you're generating revenue between launches, allow you to also increase launch on launch, come and join me for my free masterclass. Check the show notes below, or come and find me on Instagram and you will see all of the details. I would love to catch you on that training. It's epic. The feedback has been amazing. All right, bye for now.